Okay. We had to remake. I don't know why this video's looping. Why are you ready? Of course, it's my welcome back tournament. Shit goes badly. I don't. Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it will. Welcome to the first game of the group. Now, we did unfortunately have to change the order. God damn it, of things around. And we've had some bugs, both for players and now for me. But hey, deep breaths. We're finally getting into the casting part of the show. Spawning to the upper left side. Ooh, with a cheeky probe out on the map and a cheeky drone too. Of course, it's Gungfubanda. But the reason we have a cheeky drone is because of who is on the other side of the map. It's the blue Zerg, Bly. Now let's be very clear, these are best of 3s for the group.
Mom,
next group, the next group stage will be all best of 5s, of course, but for now it's best of 3s. And the reason I pointed out this cheeky drone is because Bly likes to do proxy hatcheries. It'll be a block at your natural, it'll be a hatchery in your main base. The reality is, this is just something he does, and I think if you're playing against him, you kind of have to expect to an extent. Now, he's trying really hard to get his hatchery down. Double probes look a little silly, but this is necessary. No, he actually gets it off. This is going to force out a Zealot. This is going to be a Chrono now used on a Zealot instead of probes. It delays the Nexus further. Stop interrupting me with other co-casters. I'm going to lose my mind. Thank you very much, Hurt1 and Hello Zergly for the bits. I'll read your messages in a moment. A key part of this is Gungfubanda. To stop this, obviously, you can't rely on just the Zealot. You have to put some probes into it. This is where it gets really ugly, because he's had to pull so many workers off of mining. He had a really great income lead, blips down, falls apart for Bly. And of course, Bly is going to lose a couple of resources. The drone eventually will likely die too, but he has like significantly delayed the Nexus at the natural at this point. And I don't know if he's actually let this finish and use Broodlings. I guess it's crazy. Oh man, you guys tested me real good today. Alaska winner. Thank you for the bits. It's good to be back. If the drone gets up to the main base, actually, it could have possibly stolen the gas, but Gungfubanda has taken that geyser, and that drone will... Oh my god, Zerg regen is so sick. It gets more scouting. It's not going to be able to do much, of course, but it gets more scouting, which is nice. Bly, on the other hand, spends his 300 minerals not on another proxy, but instead on an actual third base back at home. King's Cove is a bit of a funny map. Both players should be able to get away with 3 bases fairly easily, but... Alright, what'd you guys write here? King's Cove, 4 days. Thank you for the bits. Here's for the King's Cove intro for a full 8-hour stream. Nah. See, this is what's messed up, right? There's like those quote-unquote challenges, like, oh, watch the Chica dance for 10 hours straight. I could do that. I would love to do that. I already do that on my own. But if you guys made me sit through King's Cove for 10 hours, there's no amount of donation money that would make me... There's just no way. Okay, so, a little bit of crazy in terms of the opening and silliness. But ultimately, this is shaping up to look a little bit more normal, just with both players' timings thrown off. That drone's living its best life. You guys bet it is. Okay, speed's going to be done here shortly. Bly still hasn't picked a tech path, and this is a little bit problematic. Because regardless of the fact that he won't have a lair, what he hasn't seen, I don't think, was the Dark Shrine. Let me just double check that vision. Yeah, that was plopped down after the Overseer or Overlord had left the natural base. So there could be actually just regular Archons, right? We've seen this every time. It's just the standard way to play. Or it could actually be DTs. And if it is just straight up Dark Templar, Bly doesn't have any detection. There's no spore crawlers that have gone down out of paranoia. There's no lair in your sight. So there's not going to be overseers. And I think things are just going to be a little bit rough for our Zerg player. Oh, well, actually, speaking of the devil, now we get some spores coming down. There's always this timing, right? Everybody's got their own timing. Some people put it down really early because they're super paranoid. Some people put it down a little bit later. Either way, Bly, he's going to be getting away with these spores. And in doing so, should have detection for the DTs. But as I mentioned, these aren't necessarily Dark Templar for the sake of Dark Templar. Very likely, they will turn into Archons. Now, Bly's Lings, I'm not sure if they quite saw the Warp Prism. A little unfortunate not getting that scout. These Overlords should hopefully see it coming. Dep's chased off the Lings that were kind of guarding out that third. He has, at this point, seen the Warp Prism, or at least on the mini-map, it's been revealed. Whether he's recognized it or not, we'll see. The thing with the Overlord here is you can try and see what's warping in, but when it's like this, you don't see anything. That's a blurry amount of DTs. Now, there is detection, but it's limited to the mineral lines. These DTs could focus it down. Bly kind of actually... Oh, he doesn't do the hold position micro. Hold the phone. This is a big deal. Overseer's finally finished up, so we'll see. They just got a lot of extra free damage on the hatchery. Tries to go in for the pickup, doesn't quite get it. Getting a little bit greedy there, loses one of the DTs. Oof. I was worried about that Overseer timing even finishing up. A lot of times what you see Zerg players do is they pull the drones into the Spore Crawler, hold position around it, and just try to body block this, the Templar out. But he does withdraw, and he does start turning these into Archons. And that's fine, because this is how you typically play it out. Bly's actually matching this pretty well. He's got enough roaches on the field that the Archon damage here should be limited. It's a bit scary because the hatchery's low, but I don't think we're going to see the Archons focusing down buildings. They're going to be chasing down Queens and Overlords and drones. Glad you're back, Rifkin. Hey, it's glad to be back, man. Again, we've had a rough start with today. Today's show is off to a very rough start, but that's okay. Kind of collected myself and feeling a lot better now that we're actually in the game casting it. But yeah, I know that I've done a couple of like fun streams here and there. Oh, hold the phone. DT's gonna get a lot of damage done down south. But this is like the first real cast back, and it's gonna be a test too, because yesterday, about 4 hours of that qualifier, and I didn't have stamina to do anything. I was dead. I'm hoping it's not gonna be like that today. I'll tell you guys this much too. I was really bummed. I was planning to go to TwitchCon Berlin, kind of last minute thing. I've had to since cancel my flight because I've realized that I'm just going to get sick going to a convention after being sick. I'm living a very boring life right now. So you guys have no idea how much I was looking forward to this cast. Anyways, Archons are going to chase these drones down. Bly's got this Roaches not coming back home, but instead pushing still across the map. I didn't think he focused on the hatchery, but he's actually going to put work into this. The Archons, of course, got to be careful they don't die. That Warp Prism's very low. Transfuse is going into the hatchery to try and keep this up. Jones come back very bravely. Does pick off the Warp Prism. Both the Archons go down. There's nothing to recall back home to help with the defense. And Bly with his Roaches not staying at home, but getting aggressive across the field is going to knock down that third base out of Gungfubanda. Now, there's a lot of Immortals, and a couple of Force Fields could really screw over these Roaches, but with Ravagers now being finished up, he can break those Force Fields. The Immortals are still going to wreck the Roaches. The damage on them are just so good, but even then, Bly's the one who's sieging this up while taking a fourth base, and Gungfubanda is the one who lost the base, now turtling and praying to live on. This doesn't look so good for Protoss on paper, 90 supply to 38, but as you're witnessing here with this choke and this fight, and specifically King's Cove having that very narrow terrain, Bly is having difficulty getting that damage done. Looks like a second Warp Prism came back across the map, tried to finish sniping off the hatchery. Again, with the transfuses, Bly keeps the hatchery alive a little bit longer. But while we may have a small lull in the action, we don't have players being inactive. Bly's actually still creeping across the map with the Roaches. Tries to get on top of the head. Oh, that's a kill, not a cancel. That's going to sting for Gungfubanda quite a bit. You know, I didn't really get to go into the details of this too much, guys, but we'll talk about groups. But just know that Gungfubanda qualified yesterday. Bly was one of the many players invited to this tournament, but all players competing whether qualified or invited, are guaranteed prize money, as we will pay all 8 players something, if nothing else. And I told you guys I'd talk about the Matcherino page once we finalized it, and that's why I'm kind of segueing into it at the moment. I've spoken with the players. I've let them know we're going to keep the prize pool still at a solid $1,000, and rather than boosting up like 3rd, 4th place or something like that, because I really did not expect us to raise so much money before the tournament even really started. And what we'll do is we're going to take the excess money and do just another one of these after Challenger qualifiers finish up. So, groups now, groups later. We're going to get a lot of tournament out of this. But okay, Bly with just the numbers, man. 133 army supply to 50. I mean, it's a big game to talk about Immortals, but this is brute force at this point. There's Ravagers in the mix, too. And these auto attacks are breaking through the shields. The Corrosive Bows are breaking those force fields. Bly continues to advance forward. Kites back a little bit, losing some of that forward supply, but here comes the reinforcements, and he's got so many of them. And if Gungfubanda, it's not about killing the army. If he loses this base again, that could be it. Bly fully knows this, and that's why the siege is taking place here instead of the natural base or anywhere else. He does move into the army. He's giving those Immortals some nice hugs. Better hugs than I could give people when I was streaming Diablo the other day. But, oh, he's losing so many roaches to make this happen, but he's built so damn many more. 13 in production on top of what's already been rallied across the field. Gungfubanda now beaten back down to 2 Immortals. And those are really the core of his defense. His gateway units are always going to wash up. It doesn't matter whether it's Zealots, Stalkers, they're going to die to the Roaches and the Ravagers just through numbers. He's got to keep those Immortals alive. They're his only chance to fight this back. But it doesn't look like that's likely. Again, the Nexus gets targeted because he says, if you won't fight me, I'll kill your base. It's just as bad for you. Now pushing into the Immortals once more. Barriers popped. Oh, some Warp Prism Micro going down very nicely on that back line. Bly's starting to bleed out that supply, and he's lost that massive bleed. He's still up in supply quite significantly. But, yo, credit where it's due. Gungfubanda with the hold, and the 3rd base survives a little longer. I wonder if Bly just needs a few more Ravagers or what, but either way, he's gone to drone. He's taking a 5th base while this goes on. I mean, I like that he's segmenting some Roaches up here. So he says, look, keep fighting me. I'm going to kill a couple of probes while you do this. If the probes all go down, they can maybe focus the Nexus, but trying to pounce on this once again, picking off sentries. It's difficult, though, because every time Bly disengages, it gives the cooldown on that hardened barrier to come back up. Or, well, just barrier, excuse me. And once barriers back up, well, they can take those hits all over again. And that's a big part of why this is looking so bad for Bly. His disengagements are normally great, but in this scenario, it's actually favoring the Immortals every time he backs away from the fight. But it's Bly, and we're going to see a switch up. Spire on the way. As good as Immortals are, they do not shoot up. 5 bases, that's plenty of gas, but also mineral patches for the drones to spread out on. Natural base still almost dead, but hey, it's mining out. So mission accomplished in that regard. I do fear that Gungfubanda won't see this tech switch coming because he is so tunnel vision on the Roaches. And that's to Bly's benefit, actually. He's really put on quite a good show with this all in. Whether this was actually meant to end the game and he would be like, hey, cool, it worked, or whether this was just a gigantic distraction setting up for the Mutaswap. Or it could even be Corruptors, actually. No, it's Mutas, okay. I was just, there's some folks out there who like to do caustic spray over Mutalisk harassment. I think Bly is, every time I think of Bly, I think of 8 Mutalisks minimum. I don't see him playing a lot of other styles. Namshar, on the other hand, I'm thinking Corruptors. Either way, 16 Mutas is totally unseen. The first glimpse of this will be this Warp Prism getting picked off by them. And, oh, he has rallied them. He has rallied them. Cleaning this up will be no problem. Now, while the Mutas are revealed, what is Gungfubanda's reaction to this? A couple of Archons, maybe, through those Templar? Archons can take a fight against Mutalisks, no question about it. But I don't think this is going to be that split harassment. If Bly actually just wanted to commit with everything, I feel overpowering his opponent with almost 3 times the army supply is not unreal. The Zergling's going to soak up all the shots from the Immortals, so the Roaches should actually not get picked off that easily. Not to mention the Mutalisks picking off everything else. Baneling Nest finishing up here too, so we're just going to have brute force in every sense of the word coming out of Bly. 64 Lings, half of those become Banelings. They're going to tear through everything. Wrap around, just picking off more of these probes. Grand total of 38 workers lost so far this game. Back on the other side of the map, there are DTs that snuck by. We took a brief look at these early on. They're going to be dealt with by the ground army, but Bly is just going to aim moving over there while he focuses on this side. Now he's magic boxing around the Archons, but that's around sentries. That's around a lot of stalkers. I think that if there was no sentries, this would be a different fight to take. But Guardian Shout reduces damage from Mutalisk so significantly. It almost nullifies the Glaive Worm bounce. So not really worth it for Bly when you consider he was investing into these with a +1. 15 Mutalisks died. That's 1,500 minerals of gas. That was every bit of the lead that he was working with off of this income. Now, of course, he's still killing it, and he's still got the bases. So Bly's he's nowhere near poor yet, but that was a bad trade, and he can't make too many more of those. Otherwise, he's going to give power in the game back to Gungfubanda. Gungfubanda spent so much money and so many units getting this base up. And what really breaks my heart is as I look at this, I know that he doesn't have the money to build a bunch of shield batteries to fortify it. Because this base with shield batteries on top of the high ground with a couple of force fields, I don't care what Bly does. He's not getting in there anytime soon. But it's open. It's open season. There's Mutalisks all over the map. Lings are flooding in now too. The Stalkers are, without a doubt, a small problem, but I don't think they'll be that big of an issue. Because while Bly took a bad fight before, it's because he was dealing with DTs. I feel he was distracted. Oh, wow. This is some rough magic boxing. Picks up another Archon. It's just so not worth it, I feel, but at the same time, Bly's just so ahead. He can throw whatever he wants away. Here come the Banelings. They're slow. They don't have speed, but it's fine. They just need to do a little bit of explode. Good force fields. You just come around that side. The splash on top of the Immortals. Grab some of the Stalkers. They're blinking back behind the mineral lines, behind the geysers, and it's a great place for them to fight, but ultimately the Mutas do take out the Immortals. The front line's been broken, and while the Stalkers may or may not win this fight versus the Mutas, the base goes down, probes are dead, GG's get called, and Gungfubanda will tap out of game number 1. So a pretty solid 1-0 start for Bly. I actually forgot what the maps are because we restarted. All right, I'm going to get the maps here. We'll get this next lobby hosted. Taco Stuff, thank you for the 54-month resub. As well as Predator, I think you hit me up with a 2-year during that game. I was quite distracted. Thank you so much. Where has Rifkin been? God, I feel like, man, this isn't at the person, right? Hang on. I'm not sure what the next map is. Okay, while I look for this, the frustration is, all right, let's say something happens. Let's say I make an oopsie, and I don't want anyone to know about it. Somehow, every fucking buddy and their mom knows about it, right? Oh, Rifkin forgot to pay the players. It's on Reddit. It's on Twitter. It's on everywhere. Okay, cool. But then I have information I want to put out there. And I have posted on Discord, on Patreon, on Twitter, on everywhere I could. I've talked about it all month. I've been sick, right? How do people not know? I just don't understand the dynamic of this. Like, just put I was sick in the title. Dude, that's what I should have called the tournament. Rifkin was sick. Genius! Anyways, yes. The long story short, guys, I was terrifically sick. I was hospitalized. I couldn't breathe properly for like a week. It still affects my lungs even right now. It's been a month. So, hey, we're back to it. I'm not 100%. I'm like, I'd say close to 90 for how I feel. But we're back in StarCraft 2. And if you've missed Base Trade TV, don't worry. My plans are to start getting back into the swing of things the same way we were before we left. But anyways, enough jibber jabber. We got Cyber Force coming up for game 2. I'm actually just going to throw us right into the game. Pneumonia? Yeah, I had flu, pneumonia, and bronchitis all hit me at the same time. I haven't had to deal with bronchitis since I was 12. So that was a weird nostalgia trip, we'll say. I had flu because I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I was just too lazy to go get my flu shot, and it bit me in the ass. Because the flu weakened my immune system for the pneumonia to get in. So, you know, guys, take your fucking flu shots. Anyways, we're getting back into the series. It's game number 2. For those who are just joining us this morning, we have Geralt versus Euthermal TVP lined up next. We got to finish this one first. So at the bottom right side, he's going to be the blue Zerg player, Bly. To the top left, we got the red Protoss, Gungfubanda. Are you supposed to get shots as an adult? Yes, like every year or something like that. There's so many different strains of the viruses and stuff. Like, there's not just the flu, like it was the chicken pox. It's like new versions of the flu that you have to adapt to. Booster shots, mate? Okay, well, I've got the terminology wrong. The point is, guys, whatever shot it is you need, do it. Don't be lazy about it. I had this logic that was, okay, I never go outside anyways. I don't hang out with people. I'm not going to get sick sitting in my own home. And then a girl dragged me out to a meetup party thing, and literally the next day I got sick. And that's when I'm like, damn it! I went outside. I broke the cardinal rule. I left the house. And oh my god, it's a cannon rush! This didn't even register with me because he opened Gateway. But Forge went down while I was ranting. And this is going to be a little weird, because this cannon rush is late, but because of the way he pushed off the natural to the third base, and now the third base under siege, Bly's not going to want to cancel this to retake his natural, because he's still going to be in danger of the probe heading that way too. So Gungfubanda is kind of doubling down with a second cannon. Bly is likely going to have to cancel this base, and that's not going to feel good for him. Gungfubanda cancels his cannon, well, hopefully cancels both of them, save the money. Because this base is not going up. He needs the cash. He just took a Nexus. He doesn't cancel the cannon. So if he had hopes of cannon rushing the second base now, that's out the window. Probe just goes for a scout. Maybe he had no intention of cannon rushing the follow-up at all. Either way, this was an interesting way to push off a natural into a delayed cannon rush. And I'm going to be honest, I've not seen anybody do it this way. So maybe this really did catch Bly off guard. By the way, we got some sub love got to do. I think I shout out Taco stuff, but if I didn't, thank you for the 54 months. We got a brand new sub come in with General ZX. And by the way, if you guys are unaware, one of the best sub benefits we get with the channel is not our emotes. It's not our sub badge. It's not even our Discord with the replay packs. It's the ad-free viewing. So, if you've subbed to the channel, make sure you hit refresh really quick so it registers you, and you won't get any ads over the course of this broadcast. I haven't played any ads yet, but I will be after this game. So, if you don't want to see that stupid McDonald's ad where the girl, that's my ham, or the Prime Original series, if you don't want any of that, sub to the channel. Good times, good value. Well, it wasn't last month, let's be honest. I didn't stream because I was sick. But, going forward, providing I don't get sick again, it's good value. Oh no, what's going on? Why is things... Okay. Whew, I thought the stream crashed for a second. My thing froze. Oh, oof. But we're good. Okay, I had to like triple check to make sure the stream was still online. Not having a good day. The McDonald's ads, was that? Do you guys not get that one? Is that like a Canada... There's no way that's a Canada only thing. You want a Ruth's party tonight? Make sure you bring your dancing shoes. I will say this much. One of my favorite things I've interacted with at a TwitchCon, because that's where you get together with all your fans and subs and other streamers and their fans and subs and what have you, is I love getting to that corner of people who we just make fun of the ads. And I think it was like, was it 2 years ago or was it this last year? They had that Xbox ad with the Rocky Balboa quotes, you know? Like, it's not about how hard you hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Oh man, we were just like quoting that at each other nonstop because that was the only, that Xbox ad was like the only ad that was playing. So like mutual hatred of ads can bring us together. It's the beauty. But okay, I digress. Sorry, getting back into the game. Really, as far as the follow-up to the development of the way this opened, it's actually a little odd to me. Gungfubanda is getting an economic lead early on. You would expect that. Bly's hatcheries were, after all, so freaking late. That's not only later mining, it's later production of more drones, right? But he's caught up since then. His worker count's still a little bit behind, and as long as he doesn't take too much damage from this, like, Oracle/Adept combo, I think Bly's going to be playing this out just as he normally would. In fact, very nice response over here. He pulled the drones very quickly, so I think only one went down. Yeah. The queens to the north chased off the oracles, one of them almost dead. Queens to the north, queen of the north. Game of Thrones. Oh, it's so soon! Who's gonna be on the Iron Throne? Please, God, let it be Podrick. Actually, I saw this great Reddit thread where it basically boiled down to like, it started off with who do you think's going to be on the Iron Throne, right? And everyone had their very legitimate theories of like why it would be Jon Snow or why it won't be Cersei or whatever, right? But this one guy was just really obsessed with like, look, I don't care who's on the throne. I just want to know what he did in that brothel to those women. And I'm like, you know what? I forgot about that. Me too. I'm no longer invested in the Iron Throne. All right. Anyways, we have the queens meandering across the map. This doesn't happen by mistake. Bly is going for a pretty big all-in. So, no more drones, Jesslings, just roaches. Gungfubanda to the natural is actually set up very well to defend this. The third base more questionable, but his army is split. There's more defensive structures to the north. There are more units to the south. Not to mention these stasis traps! Ooh, grabbing two pretty high energy queens. Another stasis trap going off, grabbing those Ravagers. If the queens focus down this Oracle, I think with transfuses they should be okay. The question is the ground army enough to meet the ground army of Gungfubanda? The Lings are really weak. The Ravagers are all caught up in a stasis. It looked a little flimsy at first, but he does break the defenses. So Oracle's dead. Stalkers and Sentry gone. This base is pretty much forfeit if he wants to focus it, but I think Bly's doing the right move. He's just going to pick up the pylons so there's not more reinforcements, and then start shuffling the queens and the Ravagers over in a position to assault the natural. What he really needs here, truly more than anything else, though, is an Overlord. Man, an Overlord for some high ground vision would be worth its weight in gold. Although Overlords probably don't weigh much because they can fly, so they're worth the Queen's weight in gold. They look a little bit like they're on the heavy side. You heifers. But as he pushes up the ramp, the choke is actually going to be a little bit difficult to maneuver here for Gungfubanda. This would ruin any Zergs today who wanted to run up these doors, but it also ruins the Immortals' chances to run out of the Corrosive Biles and, in fact, kind of getting caught within themselves. And there's so many Ravagers, and there's so many Corrosive Biles, and with these Queens still standing, none of this army is getting bonus damage. These Stalkers, the Immortals, there's nothing armored for them to hit. GG's get caught, and Bly will take this series 2-0, placing Gungfubanda in the elimination match. Planes can fly. Yeah, but planes use, like, aerodynamics to fly, right? That's the whole concept of lift with the wings. Overlords are just literally inflated sacks of flesh that for whatever reason inside of them can carry creep and also helium. I don't know, but it's not the same thing. All right, we're moving to Thermal versus Geralt now. I gotta go update title of the stream. I'm gonna play those ads like I said, but hey, if you're a sub, you're just gonna have some groovy music to listen to. I'll see you guys in a couple minutes while we get this lobby up and running.